it's difficult to create a product that everyone can use, that is, easy to understand, easy to use, and easy to get the most benefit out of.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Pierce with Intent Farmer Trials, and really excited to have Cory joining us today from Sabanto, where we're going to talk about autonomous equipment today. So, Cory, we would love it if you could just kind of give us a little bit of your background and what you do at Sabanto.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Yeah, my name's Cory Spaetti, and my background is in tractor engineering, if you will. I grew up on a farm in southern Indiana and got an agriculture engineering degree from Purdue. And throughout my career, I got the opportunities to work at C&H Industrial, Kubota, the Climate Corporation, and now at Sabanto. So really happy to be here today. Thank you for allowing me to come on.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about Sabanto. It's a relatively new company, still young, which our farmer trial participants may not be as familiar with. So if you could just give us a little high-level view of the company and what you guys do, that'd be great.
Yeah, you bet. So, our overarching, I'll say, product is delivering farming as a service.
You buy on-market equipment, but then you customize it, or tell us a little bit how the autonomous system is incorporated then into the equipment.
Yeah, you bet. So as you can see, there's a Kubota M5660 tractor behind me. We have 4 of these here, and we actually don't own them. We actually lease them, which is one of the reasons why we chose to go with Kubota. There's a Kubota dealership in my neighborhood, and generally there's a Kubota dealership close to the customers that we're working with. So, we kind of, understanding the reliability of these tractors, the opportunity to lease the tractors instead of buying them, and then, just the ease of being able to get parts is one of the big, are the big reasons why we chose to use the Kubotas. And so essentially what we do is we add a hydraulic steering valve. We control the shuttle, the forward reverse shuttle system, and the 3-point hitch lift and lower system. And those are mechanical linkage controls. So we just add some electronic actuators to those things, and then basically we use the tractor as a power unit. So we use the diesel engine, of course, to tow the planter, the 3-point hitch to raise and lower the planter. We've added a closed center hydraulic system to the tractor, and we power that with a PTO. And then of course we've got our autonomous control system, which is all contained in that white box that you can see on the side of the tractor. And then we use GPS to coordinate the position of the machine. And then what we have is kind of like a command center where we have 2 or 3 operators in there that are basically deploying mission plans to each machine. And then they're also doing surveillance of the machines while they're operating.
And essentially, when you're operating, then do you have to be? Are you in the on the field while this is happening? Is it remote where you're kind of piping in and viewing what's happening? How do you keep an eye on the actual process?
That's a great question. So this year we actually had a travel and enclosed trailer that our engineers would sit in, and we would typically be at the farmstead of the customer, but then the tractors might be in fields, a couple miles away. So we were remotely, viewing and monitoring the machines from a distance. Long term, the strategy is to be able to start/deploy these tractors once they're placed in the field from a central office, say in Chicago or Iowa, or somewhere far from the farming site. So it's hard to get software type guys to go out to the field. So it's just one of the things we have to make work.
Yeah. Well, and so how many customers, or how much were you able to plant with your tractors this planting season?
Yeah, so we work with several large growers throughout the Midwest, and we took the opportunities. They would invite us out to their operations, and they would pick fields that they would like us to work on, and we kind of became an extension of their operations. So, for example, many of the farmers were planting corn. They would plant corn first, and then ultimately we would be planting beans at the same time they were planting corn. So they could take their current labor force and focus them on that, and then we, as an extension of their capabilities, would plant beans. So yeah, we got over several acres, and it was a good experience. It was, I would say, probably the most challenging thing once we got going was just keeping the tractors full of seed and full of diesel fuel. So.
Right, because how fast can they go and yet still be delivering the quality of planting that you'd be looking for?
Yeah, our travel speeds were between 5 and 7 miles per hour, depending on the field conditions. And generally, on average, looking back at all the fields we planted, we were planting about 5 acres per hour while we were, when everything was operational. And so, that's actually one of the things we're trying to work on right now is how can we, reduce our downtime. And reducing downtime means how can we fill up, spend time less filling up with seed and diesel fuel. So,
right.
So those are some of the technologies we're trying to add to these tractors for next season.
Cool. And so for the farmers, clearly the example you showed was time saving. So if you've got a short planting window, you can kind of double their capacity in some ways. What other benefits would you say farmers have experienced, or do you anticipate, as you continue to kind of scale the business?
Yeah, I would say, the two big things are helping the farmers manage labor shortages. And so there's only so many retired high school teachers in the US or in the world that can come help during planting season. And, our service can basically help fill that gap. These tractors can't do everything, but they can go back and forth in straight lines very well, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, that is kind of where this product has a niche, if you will. The other thing is just the capital expenses or the capital costs of large planters, large, high precision planters. And so, by being able to deliver a planting service or a tillage service, we can put these machines in a field. They can plant seeds with very high accuracy, and they can drive in straight lines. And so, so there's two things. When people drive by a field, how even is the stand, and do they have crooked passes out in the field? So, so that's kind of what we pride ourselves on there. So, as far as I can see, probably, as far as I'll be alive and around, there will always be farmers, and farmers love to do what they do. And I think our equipment and this technology and our services can only help, kind of fill in the gaps and, augment what they're already, presently doing. That there will be some very innovative, I'll say business person, business savvy farmers that kind of look at our technology and they'll say, oh yeah, we can replace, X number of operators with these machines. And maybe we'll get there someday, but for the time being, I really see ourselves as a great way to augment, an existing workforce on a farm.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought about kind of the generational transition of that skill and the need for it as we have more farmers, getting to a point where they might not want to be sitting in the plant or the entire time.
Yeah. What's kind of funny, what we've discovered this year as being a niche market is farmers that grow organic crops. And here's why, is because they generally do conventional tillage. They plant the crop, and then before the crop even emerges out of the ground, they are already rotary hoeing that crop and basically trying to do weed prevention. And then once the crop emerges out of the ground and is tall enough, then they're doing
Mhm.
multiple passes of cultivation. And, they can't use chemical. And so for them, they see this as almost like the holy grail, because they believe, we could put a tractor like this in a field and just let it cultivate all day long,
Right.
all night long. And those are really high value crops.
Yeah.
So I don't know. With what's going on in the ag chemical industry right now, maybe there is a spot for doing more organic crop growth. So.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So if anyone wants to learn more or find out how they can maybe work with you, where would you direct them?
Yeah, probably a couple places. We monitor our Twitter account very closely, and I would say that you can go to look us up Sabanto on Twitter, or on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, and you can send a direct message to those accounts,
Mhm.
and we check those quite often. So.
Okay, great. Well, I really enjoyed the time. Really appreciate you hopping on and chatting with us. And I'm sure our network of farmers appreciates it as well. Really cool to see where the technology is going, and really not just the technology, but the application of it. Because I think for
Yep.
so long, we've all been hearing about all this autonomous and all these robotics and how it's going to change the game. But
Yep.
actually now seeing it implemented and happening is really cool to be a part of and see how
Yep.
it evolves.
Yeah, I will say, as a kind of a closing note, is
Yeah.
farming is really hard, and you know I don't foresee a day that a keyboard and a robot will ever fully be able to replace farmers. And farmers generally always take pride in what they do, and I really believe that what we're doing is never going to replace what they do, but it hopefully can help them in the long term. So.
Yeah. I agree. Well, thank you again. And if you want to find out any more about the Intent Farmer Trials Network, visit farmertrials.com and you can sign up. And hopefully, we'll have an opportunity at some point to be trialing some new equipment and other things as we continue to expand our opportunities as well. So,
You bet.
thank you. And we'll talk next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.